Let's bring in Daniel Fesenmaier for a deeper look at the global travel industry. He's a professor at the University of Florida and director of the school's Department of Tourism, Recreation and Sport Management at the Eric Freitime Tourism Institute. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Rachel.
Now let's start with a look at what's behind the rise that we're seeing in international travel. What do you think is driving that?
Well, the most important driving force is the increasing economic development of developing countries. China and actually most of the Western countries are growing and actually exploding, and they're trying to provide quality of life for their citizens. So now they're going beyond their local country and deciding that they want to see the rest of the world.
Now, we're seeing that France and Spain are topping the list of tourism favorites this year. France, of course, bouncing back from a series of terror attacks over the last few years. So what is it that countries are doing to revitalize their tourism industries after these devastating attacks?
Well, most of, to be honest, most of the Europe is they're trying to not attract tourists. They're trying to say, look, we want to, when people come, they want to have a normal life. When you come to Paris, you want to see what Paris is really like, as opposed to, we'll say, the Orlando or the theme park of the world. They say to the rest of the world, if you come, we want you to see what authentic France is. And when people see that, they say, fantastic, let's go. So it's kind of reverse marketing, but they're actually doing a fantastic job in terms of attracting people to most places within the continent of Europe.
Now, it's interesting that you raise this issue of perhaps too many tourists coming to countries. Some countries are very eager to really get the money that comes with tourists, but not really prepared for all the issues that come with it, whether it's the pressure on infrastructure and things like that. What do you think are some of the challenges when you suddenly have a huge influx of tourists?
When all of a sudden there's a huge influx, and this is for me with Florida, it's the Caribbean. When the Caribbean countries, the smaller countries, when you see this large, it tends to cause inflation. It tends to create problems between the local residents and the new tourists, if you will. Robbery and crime tends to escalate quite a bit and create tension. One of the really good examples was, let's say 20 years ago with Czechoslovakia and Prague, and when all of a sudden the wall came down and the Western Americans and the Europeans went to Prague, all of a sudden it was being exploited. The tourists were being exploited by locals, and now everything has settled down, of course, and it's become a normal part of the economy. But in the beginning parts of it, there was huge tension between the local residents and tourists, of course.
Now let's look at the travel experience itself. How is technology changing not just the way that they book their travel, but also the sort of experiences that they're now open to?
Yeah, technology has, over the last 20, 25 years, has absolutely reshaped tourism completely. From, the beginning was getting rid of losing many of the travel agencies. But now, because of Facebook and actually because of mobile technology, people really, bring this technology with them wherever they're going. And it enables them to kind of actually, they talk about tourism now, not about going to places to escape, all of the pressures and the life where you are and where you are at home, but actually you're able to bring it with you. So many times, if you have your iPad or your iPhone, you can take your music, you can take lots of different parts of it, right, and you can be connected back to home every day whenever you want to. So it's really reshaped all of the nature of the experiences you have. And of course, Google and TripAdvisor, all of the Expedia, from the advisor point of view, they've reshaped how people actually make choices and where that they choose to stay and the places that they choose to visit. So it's had a huge impact just in the fundamental nature of tourism itself.
Well, thank you so much. Daniel Fesenmaier there of the University of Florida.